Well, I'm here with representatives from the Guatemalan government, the Minister for the Environment, is that correct?
Yes.
And the Minister for Planning. Well, thank you very much for being here with us. Could you, Minister, first of all explain a little bit about the problems that you suffer in Guatemala from the effects of climate change?
Well, first of all, thank you for the interview. In Guatemala, we have several structural problems. One is our geographic location. We are in the route of the hurricanes of the Atlantic and the tropical storms of the Pacific. And being an isthmus, we have a maritime climatic regime. In addition, we are over 3 tectonic plates, North America, Caribbean, and Cocos. That has created 33 volcanoes, 4 of them are active. Therefore, we have a very natural vulnerability, one of the highest in the world. We also have a very impoverished population. About 51% of Guatemalan people are poor, and 30% are extremely poor. This creates another type of vulnerability, and unfortunately, a part of the population doesn't have enough food, and we have malnutrition that adds another layer of vulnerability. And our population increases 2.5% a year. It's very high. Every 3 years we have 1 million more of Guatemalans. Therefore, climate change for us is a magnifier and a multiplier of all these problems that we have. Is not just some additional thing, but something that exacerbates, magnify, multiply, and make change of problems. And being Guatemala one of the 10 most vulnerable countries in the world, for these reasons, we have to cope with all these sort of social, economic, environmental, territorial, and now climate change problems. We have not produced historically a lot of green gases. We have produced 1,000 of the historic greenhouse gases, but we are one of the 10 most vulnerable countries in the world. Therefore, we are trying to make an alliance for our common future in order to obtain a financial support from the people who have polluted the atmosphere, and that they have created the climate change and climate vulnerability. And in less than 12 years, we have invested over $1 billion of our own money in adaptation and mitigation, and this is completely unjust, because we are not the producers of the problem, but we are suffering from the consequences of the countries that have produced it.
Okay, so what is it you need? I don't know if I could address that question to you. What is it you need or you would like to see from the developed nations coming out of a conference like this one in Cancun?
Well, we expect to have concrete commitments in this conference. We want to see financing mechanisms being implemented. We want to be supported in our own efforts to develop our plans to adapt to climate change, and we need to rebuild our country. And that implies not only a goodwill from the countries, but it implies concrete solidarity. So we expect that very much.
I mean, so you do have your own plans, you do have your own
We
schemes
actually
to
do
try
have.
yeah.
We have suffered for the last 10 years of continuous floodings and droughts, and we need to become more capable to implement our own strategies, and we have devised that, and we know how much it costs. It costs about $1,500 million to overcome just the recent floodings we had experienced this year. So we need international solidarity, but above all, we need this co-responsibility in this emission of gases that we have has to be correspond to our countries with support to implement our own plans.
And do you get the impression, do you have the feeling so far from what you've seen here in Cancun that help might be forthcoming?
Well, most of the people who are responsible from the climate change are dragging their feet. And this is of very high concern for us because while we are talking here, a lot of people are dying in my country due to climate change problems. And I think that is unethical that we will wait for more years to come to a binding agreement. I think that we don't want to have here the same solution among quotations that we have in Copenhagen. I think that we have high expectations that we will come to a second period in the Kyoto Protocol, that the adaptation measures will be taken into account, especially for the most vulnerable countries like Guatemala, and that the money that is being mentioned will go to the really needy countries, because it has become a kind of bilateral deal instead of a multilateral deal, and we as small countries don't have a chance with the larger countries because they can come to agreements due to their size and interests. And we are not getting very much support from this so-called $10 billion per year during the period 2010-2012. Therefore, they have to do what we have done. The Central American Integrating System came to the first agreement here in education, public awareness and public participation, and it was not very difficult because everybody wanted to come to a solution. I think that the larger and powerful countries that are polluting at this moment the atmosphere and creating more problems with climate change should start compensating us for all the losses and damages that we are suffering.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much.